Hello, and welcome back to Muse, the podcast where creativity meets personal growth and self-expression becomes a living practice. I'm your host, Damaris, artist, multi-passionate creator, and deeply curious human, navigating what it means to live and create with intention. We're halfway through the month now, and we're crushing it. Feeling good, shaking shit up, going deeper, and coming out better on the other side. So far, on our journey of unraveling, we've talked about perfectionism and being seen, breaking apart these ideas and getting to a place where we can meet ourselves honestly, imperfectly, and without apology. Because that's what living and creating is really about, right? Today we're talking about what authentic self-expression is and why it's the only way to live. This episode is about showing up as your real, raw self, even when it's terrifying. Growing up, I was able to express myself pretty freely. I feel like as kids, we just don't care what people think. We're not editing ourselves. We're not measuring how our presence affects others. We just show up as we are, innocent and clear. But as I got older, I was slowly taught to be more mindful of my surroundings, of other people, of how my actions, words, and even my personality might affect those around me. And sure, that's part of growing up. But as a creative, that kind of conditioning starts to chip away at your spirit. You start to hide parts of yourself. Not because they're wrong, but because they're intense, complex, not easily explained, or don't always fit cleanly into social expectations. That was my experience. Even as an adult, I kept so much of my full self in hiding, convinced that if I brought it all forward, most people wouldn't know how to hold it. As adults, this kind of self-editing shows up differently. You start to dilute who you are, you compartmentalize, giving friends one version of you, family another, coworkers a third. You change how you speak, how you dress, even the language you use, depending on the room you're in. Can you relate? And it's not that it's always intentional. We all do it. It's part of adapting. But what we don't always realize is that over time, hiding these parts of ourselves has a cost. It can lead to anxiety, depression, creative blocks, feeling stuck in our work or relationships, and fear. Fear of being truly seen, fear of losing connection, fear of taking up space. For me, showing up every week on this podcast has been a way to break that pattern. This has become a space where I get to use my voice freely and openly, where I don't have to filter my thoughts, feelings, or creative insights. And it's been a game changer. It's been an amazing experience. I found a way to not just create, but to show up as my most honest self while doing it. And I'm enjoying every aspect of it. And I'm not saying the fear is gone. Visibility is still scary. It's a real thing. And I still wonder how people will receive me. Of course, it's natural. But it would feel even worse to stay silent, to keep hiding, to not do the thing that I've been wanting to do. That would feel unbearable now, even thinking about it. So let's talk about what authenticity really means then. It doesn't mean sharing every single part of you all the time. But it does mean being truthful, knowing your voice, even if it's still evolving, and letting your inner world lead your outer actions. So then, why does this even matter? Because as a creative, you are the vessel. Your truth is your power. The more honestly you show up in your work, the more alive you feel. I can vouch for that for sure. 100%. Not just in how it lands for others, but in the way it feeds your sense of integrity. What's real changes. What felt authentic a year ago might shift, and that's okay. Even my idea and concept of the podcast continually evolves because my intention about it and where I was when I first created it is different from where I am now, actually in the moment, creating it each week. So, yeah, it'll shift, and that's okay. Sharing where you're at now, as you are now, is how you give your work depth and life. So if you've been hiding, start with one area. You already know what it is. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to be a little more honest there? Because remember, it's not about being loud. It's about being real. And before we wrap up, I've got something for you I'm pretty excited about, something I've made. It's called the Edge Map. It's a free quiz I created to help you figure out where your creative voice is coming from right now, whether it's raw, buried, on fire, or somewhere in between. You'll answer 7 quick questions and get 1 of 5 creative archetypes, plus a direct challenge to bring that part of you out of hiding. No fluff, no filler, just clarity, movement, and a little bite. If you've been asking yourself how to get real with your expression, this might be your first step back to the edge, to figuring that next step for you to take action. So go take it. The link is in the show notes. And when you do, come back and tell me about it. I want to hear. I want to know what you got, what you thought. And yeah, thanks again for joining me today. Let's keep showing up as our most authentic selves this week. And as always, keep creating. Bye.